Grace United Methodist Church and a mission moment, and my pleasure. A member of the church, I'm Bruce Kayser, and also members of the church is Jim and Linda Clauson. Today, we want to talk about a very special thing that Grace United Methodist Church is involved in, and that is Weather Amnesty. At the time of this recording, our weather's starting to turn. The colder weather is on the way, and for those that don't have a home or shelter, and food sometimes, right, you folks are very involved in helping these people out. This is a calling from God to everybody to help out those less fortunate. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about Weather Amnesty. Okay. How long have we had this? How long have we had this? How long has the church been involved in this? And you guys, if I hear right, have been involved since its inception.
Absolutely.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, let's start with Jim's ready to go first.
Well,
okay.
ready to go.
When we started, the Project Warm was it was started by a cluster of 4 Methodist churches, and it was the reality is that some of these people had no place to sleep regardless. There was some that were just mentally challenged that just couldn't be indoors except in these extreme conditions. And then there were those who were, there's some alcoholism on the streets, there's some drugs, let's face it, but they had no place to go. So that's where we came involved with it as the cluster, the Methodist cluster. And it started at First United Methodist probably 10 years ago, and it's been moved around for most of the 10 years, it seems like. A couple of years at First Meth, a couple of years at Broadway, and then the fire marshal closed that, and then it was on to the old Hope building downtown that was just a terrible place for anybody to have to go. And then it moved finally to the Kratz building, and now it has a more permanent home at the former Salvation Army.
It sounds like it gets moved every 1 to 2 years.
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
And what's the reason for that, do you suppose?
Well, there's been many people have talked about how bad it is for a neighborhood and so forth, when in fact there were very tight rules. They enter through a back door. It wasn't something that was seen off of South Michigan Street or Main Street, and they were very orderly and stayed inside for protection overnight. So that's been one of the things. There's been some groups, and now they finally have found a home at the Salvation Army. It looks like they're in the second year of that, and I believe the city bought that building.
Okay. Linda, it's changed so much since COVID, which is,
right,
at the time of this recording, is still out there and even on the rise as we speak. This has changed what Weather Amnesty is quite a bit.
Right.
But you're still involved. And
Absolutely.
How was it and how has it changed?
Well, when we first started, people would say bring snacks or whatever. Well, I always believe they should have a warm meal. So we actually, and it wasn't the church then, we took it on ourselves. Once we heard about it, we'd get a couple or another couple of our friends or whatever, and we'd all cook. And we'd take a full meal down there.
This was before church involvement.
This is
so
before.
You guys were really drawn to this.
Yes. We even one year, we learned a lesson when it was at First Meth. I took soup. I thought that would be great. And we took our grandchildren. And at that point, they were probably 7, 8 or whatever. And I took vegetable soup and I took chili. And I learned that night that a lot of them have bad stomachs. All the vegetable soup was gone, but we had a lot of chili left.
But you had a lot of chili?
Yes, yes. And the men were just wonderful. We lost for a while. He was probably 8 years old then, and we couldn't find Nicholas. And they had a little tiny TV over in the corner. Well, Nick was right in the middle of all of them watching TV.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it was. I mean, the kids. It was just wonderful, and the kids, when they would come home and we'd do that, they loved to go, and they just felt. I think they felt like they were giving too, and it was good for them to see, what it's like to not have a home.
I'm sure the people staying there, this gave them a nice feeling
absolutely,
that they belong to a community.
Absolutely. Then we trusted them to have our children around them and that sort of thing. And then as it changed and we moved from one place to another, we always took hot meals. We always took hot meals, big ones. I'd fix 2 or 3, 4 pork loins, and I would make real mashed potatoes and gravy and
Nothing out of the box?
No, not for me.
None of this add hot water stuff?
I peeled and peeled and peeled, and they were always so thankful. Oh, this is just like my mom made or whatever. And we'd take dessert, and we'd take beans, and we ate bread, and so anyway, it was, I think, a highlight for them because not everybody did that. A lot of people would just take crackers or whatever, but I didn't believe in that.
Well, I'm sure Jim would agree too. Most of these people, a good hot meal, you can just sit down and enjoy.
Absolutely.
That doesn't happen every day of the week
Right.
for these folks.
Right.
That's correct, and they are so thankful to every single one of them there for the food that they've had. Thank us many times over
Yeah.
and over. Linda's a pretty good cook, and she's been known to have people tell her that it tastes like her grandma's cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
just don't make a lot of chili these days.
Yeah,
all
that's right. That's right. And it's funny now that I do the soup kitchen. Also, that's Chili Wednesday, and
Yeah.
that's one of our biggest days. But it's a different clientele, I
It
think.
is, yeah.
But it's interesting because we did meet some people that we really cared for, the people that were there, and we've paid for life treatment centers for a couple of them.
Is that right?
Yeah, we have. And they haven't always made it, but they made it for a while. One of the gentlemen, actually, we brought to church with us for a while.
How about that?
James,
Yeah.
and then he just sort of slipped off the board, and I don't know where he is now, which is sad, but anyway. So yeah, and you would see, because we have been involved in it so long, you would see the same people show up year after year, which is always sad. And the people that didn't show up, you would hope that
They got
they
off the
were in a
streets and
better
found a
spot.
home. Right,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
And I'm sure Jim would agree too, that guys probably have some sort of relationships with some of these people that you do see
Well, there's
on a kind of regular basis.
that's very true, and it's sometimes it's very disappointing, and other times it's the happiest moment of your life. I have one in particular that I remember from a couple years ago, because they do talk to you and they do tell you what they're doing and hoping for a job interview. And I had one, he was a 65-year-old man. He was turning 65 and he'd been there every year. And he said, I'm finally getting my own apartment. And I think what had happened is he was able to collect Social Security finally. And he's living over in the River Park area. I didn't want to scare him pulling over walking, but I see him walking all the time. And I know he's just thrilled to be in that apartment now and out of the shelter,
Yeah,
out of the shelter
it
at
is
night.
great.
So nice to not have
Yeah.
have to go to the shelter. So, how are you involved now exactly? And somebody that's on the streets that has not taken advantage of Weather Amnesty, what happens now exactly?
The only thing this year that they're doing for those people now is you can donate and take the donations to Hope.
Okay.
Hope Rescue, and then whether it's snacks or water or clothing or toiletries or anything like that, they're always looking for that.
Okay.
But it's not the same. We won't get to see those men
Right.
and women.
And I meant to bring that up too. It's not just men.
No, it's not just, it's women also. One of the gals, Maggie, last year, she and I got to be pretty close, and one day she came to the soup kitchen and she needed a ride back to Our Lady of the Road, because they were open at 1, and so I took she and 3 of her girlfriends down. I mean, I had no qualms about that whatsoever. I'd been talking to her for a couple of years, and and they always say pray for me. Of course, I say yes, we'll pray for you, but it's but right now it's a whole different deal. We can't do the meals. They still do, I think, a meal at Hope. I think they do those at 5. But I'm not positive.
So Hope Rescue Mission, though, this is
That
where people
is-
should take their
If
donations.
you are
correct?
interested in Weather Amnesty, contact
And
Hope
that's
Rescue.
downtown South
Downtown,
Bend on
in the old
Mission.
Reese Furniture Building.
And it should be directed to the Amnesty program.
Yeah.
The Amnesty.
When you
Weather
drop
Amnesty.
Yes.
whatever you do,
Okay.
yeah.
And then you'll know to get.
And they
Hopefully.
are being housed now. The county has chipped in and is participating now. The city has negotiated a contract with Oaklawn for some advanced, possibly psychiatric care, behavioral work, and so forth. So we're on the right track.
Well, I'm sure God's smiling on you
Yeah, well,
folks for doing all of
thanks.
this.
Sure,
You know He
absolutely.
is. And on those you help as well.
Okay.
We appreciate it
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you
Jim
very much.
and Linda Clauson, another mission moment from Grace United Methodist Church here in South Bend. We thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.